And I'm just here kind of as a technician for our Rosh session, Laura Cattari, who's leading us through some of the incredible readings that we would never have time for in our beautiful Machzor for Rosh HaShanah. Yeah, so Laura, I'm going to turn things over to you, and really looking forward to this.
Excellent, thank you. So I'm going to do a screen sharing of each of the readings. And unlike most of the time where we share, different people reading and it goes back and forth and we wait for a volunteer, I'm just going to read them each and hopefully give you an opportunity to just sit and listen. You don't have to look at the screen and read it. I will provide the words because some people find it easier to read than listen. But just actually, oh, there's someone, Enid. You're going to be my tech today, Cantor. So if you want, you can mute yourselves at the end of each reading. I'm going to give a small space for you to sort of absorb what you just heard. And maybe we can share some thoughts around each of the readings. And of course, I hope you enjoy them. So I will start sharing. And go to a full screen if I can. There we go. So the first one's called I Am Waiting, and it's by Lawrence Ferlinghetti. I'm waiting for the great divide to be crossed, and I am waiting anxiously for the secret of eternal life to be discovered by an obscure general practitioner. And I'm waiting for the storms of life to be over, and I'm waiting to set sail for happiness. And I'm waiting for the lost music to sound again in the lost continent, in a new rebirth of wonder.
Yes.
So that was the first one.
Well, I'm in the middle of something.
I'm going to exit full screen and try and get back to you. No, that's not what I wanted. There
Laura, this is Paula. I'm not co-host, so if you can turn me on, then I can look after some of the microphone and issues. Sorry about that.
It's okay. I'm going to, no. Trying to get back to Zoom. And it's not letting me, so I'm going to stop sharing. There we go. Now I can make the Cantor co-host. There we go. Sorry about that. So how do you feel about what we just read? I'll share it again, but anyone have some thoughts on that? And just open your mics if you wish and comment.
Very pertinent to today's situation, for sure. Waiting for things to get normal again. Waiting, waiting, waiting.
Waiting seems to be the idea for sure. Sorry, I just lost that one. Just gonna close that. Yeah, definitely waiting. What else comes to mind? I find for myself, and one of the reasons why I picked this one was that we come to Rosh HaShanah and, we may have come off of a work week, or we may have been volunteering and it's been busy, busy, busy. If we've been cooking, getting everything ready. And we get to the high holy days and we wait to be immersed in it, to feel that connection, I think, sometimes. And I think it's a very gentle nudge towards thinking about perhaps it's more than just waiting for something to happen to us. I don't know how you feel about that interpretation, if it resonates with you, but it definitely does for me. Anything else before we move on to another reading?
My sense of it is that the narrator is waiting for things to happen outside of himself. He's not, doesn't have or doesn't feel any control for shaping events himself.
I would agree with that entirely, for sure. Thank you for that. Just so you know, if you do have a book at home, that was page 289, but I'm going to be jumping properly closer to the beginning of the book. One of the interesting things I found that Rosh HaShanah afternoon service has no readings, no alternative readings to it. So I'm going to go back to the beginning of the book and try and take samples from there. I'm going to go back to screen share because I'd like to be able to see you when we start speaking. Here we go. This one's called There Were No Signs, and it's by Irving Layton. There were no signs. By walking, I found out where I was going. By intensely hating how to love. By loving whom and what to love. By grieving how to laugh from the belly. Out of infirmity, I have built strength. Out of untruth, truth. From hypocrisy, I wove directness. Almost now, I know who I am. Almost, I have the boldness to be that man. Another step, and I shall be where I started from. So this one's a little different. If you look to the left-hand side, there's concept of redemption there. And I found the juxtaposition that this comes under redemption. Interesting. How did that make you feel? How did it touch something with you? Did you perhaps relate to this in any way? I found the end really almost one of those surprise endings. Another step and I shall be where I started from. And I can't stop sharing. It won't let me.
Okay. It's Cantor Paula. This reading for me, it brings up that issue of the duality that we experience in life, light and darkness, Yetzer Ra, Yetzer Tov, giving and taking, and how we can only know something by knowing sometimes what it's not. And I think of like different spiritual paths that I've tried on in my life. And, in the Eastern philosophies, in the Buddhist way, this is not something that gets focused on. You don't, the idea of duality is kind of anathema to the Buddhist, and yet it's what we experience. So I was always in wonder kind of about that path. And, how do they deal with this is what we're experiencing? And it is so telling that in Judaism, we really deal with tachlis. We deal with real experiences. And it's one of the things I love about Judaism and I battle with sometimes. I found the ending just like, I don't know what to make of that ending. What does it mean after going through all that? Well, another step, and I shall be where I started from.
I had two ideas with this. If anyone has another idea, please definitely step in. Two things. So one, when we were doing our little studies with the rabbi, some of the readings reminded me that, some of the readings reminded me that as we we heal or we better ourselves, we learn to break bad habits, etc. It's like a spiral, a helix. And sometimes we feel like we're back where we started from, but we're actually ahead. We're just learning another facet. So when you look at a helix from the side, you see you're actually moving upwards towards the pinnacle. But when you look from above, sometimes it looks like we're back in the same place as we go up that spiral. And
I love that way of looking at it. That's amazing. Yeah.
I do like that one. And I think the other one, going back to our origin, our getting a little Kabbalistic, I guess, but going back to the source, and if it's redemption and we're talking about moving towards God during this period, hopefully we do get back to God.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Anyone have any thoughts on that? These are sort of chewy. I find poetry interesting because we don't have the author here. So it's literally just our interpretation. I think it's Judaism at its best, really. No? Anyone? Steve.
I love this one. Sorry, Steve, if you want to go ahead.
Go ahead, Lisa.
Well, oh, sorry.
Oh, whoever. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to say it almost is kind of bookending life, right? You go through all of these things, all the, human emotions, the human trials and tribulations, the human joys, and eventually you're back where you started from.
That's true as well.
Yeah, I that's how I interpreted it. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
I think Paula mentioned the duality of people. You don't really know love without having known hate. You don't truly understand life without having grieved. It's my thought.
I wouldn't say you're wrong either. Anything else before we move on? There are a number more. I know we only have 45 minutes in this session, so I didn't want to overwhelm everyone, but I want to make sure everyone can contribute if they want to. So, right. So the next one, I have to say, is probably my favorite. It is written by Barbara Crooker. In the middle of a life that's as complicated as everyone else's, struggling for balance, juggling time, the mantle clock that was my grandfather's has stopped at 9:20. We haven't had time to get it repaired. The brass pendulum is still, the chimes don't ring. One day I look out the window. Green summer, the next, the leaves have already fallen, and a gray sky lowers on the horizon. Our children almost grown, our parents gone. It happened so fast. Each day we must learn again how to love. Between morning's quick coffee and evening's slow return, steam from a pot of soup rises, mixing with yeasty smell of baking bread. Our bodies twine, and the big black dog pushes his great head between. His tail, a metronome, 3/4 time. We'll never get there. Time is always ahead of us, running down the beach, urging us on faster, faster, but sometimes we take off our watches. Sometimes we lie in the hammock, caught between the mesh of rope and the net of stars, suspended, tangled up, in love, running out of time.
Oh my goodness, that is an extraordinarily beautiful reading. Thank you for that one.
How do you feel about that? I mean, for me, it was like, yeah, this is my life. And it's this paradox because I'm really good at hyper-focusing and I can lose track of time immersed in something, but then realize I've actually, instead of gaining that huge moment, I've actually lost more time than I thought.
It's a real paradox, isn't it?
Right? But you're present in those moments, but then you're not aware of the big picture. But then when you're aware of the big picture, you think, how much have I missed? And
Right.
you go over and over. I don't know, but someone else can have a different feel from this, but it really hit me. This is pretty much how I experience my life. It's like, oh my gosh, here it is.
It really hit me in an emotional place. That moment of, you know, stepping out of the busyness and seeing that arc of the life you have lived and where you're at, that where it says our children almost grown, our parents gone, it happened so fast. You know, that's right in the center of that prayer. And it's even kind of askew. It doesn't start a line, right? And it doesn't end a line. It's right in the middle of the busyness of that poem, which I think is so cool, because that's kind of the moment, right?
Yeah.
Where we stop and we look at where we are in life and how fast time seems to go by. And then after that, it's that message. Each day we must learn again how to love and have those moments that are meaningful between the busy things that we have to do. And that ending, because like one of my favorite like kind of moments that I can think of in life are times that I was lying on a hammock, you know, specifically looking at the starry night. And that just, those are moments of awe and oneness for me that I have had. And that's such a beautiful, powerful image.
Yeah. I love the play on time with with the words, but also with our lives. You know, the clock is broken. It stopped at 9:20, but we haven't had the time. And it, you know, the play on the words, but then, you know, we don't have time to get it repaired. And I think I have a box of my mom's things, and some of the things don't work. And in fact, I do have a clock that doesn't work, but I gave it to her when, yeah, I think I was in my teens, and, you know, one of my first paychecks, and being able to buy her a birthday present, and, you know, and she kept the clock, and it doesn't work anymore, but she kept it because I gave it to her, and now I'm keeping it, and the clock still doesn't work. So it had some personal, I don't know, I see my life in it. And, you know, the dog that gets between you and your partner, and, you know, even the dog's tail beats time as well. So
Yes.
Anyone else? I mean,
I think that this is like a general like stop and listen to this, because I mean, for me, my life is always go, 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 go. Like I'm always feeling like I have to be on time for this. I mean, I have, you know, my clocks are like going off all the time. You've got 10 minutes for this, you got 10 minutes for that. Even during services, like sitting here and just being present in the moment, my mind's like, you need to be doing this as soon as this is over, and you need to do this. And, you know, I'm walking and eating breakfast. I don't sit for anything. And it just, this is a very good lesson that, you know, I need to stop and I need to start looking at things around me and just enjoying things. And you know what? I may never get caught up on time, you know, like everything on my list may not get done, and it's okay. And I think this poem right here is a huge lesson for me, because it just really touched me. Like, yeah, guess what you're learning today?
Oh, I'm glad it resonated. And I understand that. I actually showed up an hour early for this because I put it in wrong in my clock, in my my phone and it beeped at me. And so I was here an hour early and was like, oh no, I actually have time. Now this hour opened up in front of me. And I was like, what do I do? And it got filled. And I can't tell you with what. So yeah. Anything else before I move on to the next one? Just again, checking the time. Okay.
When I was 6 years old, a week was forever. Now I'm 66 and a week is the blink of an eye. And younger, when I was thinking about education, it occurred to me, if I do this, I'll be 30 when I'm done. But then if I don't do this, how old am I going to be? It's during the years I worked, time not being my own seemed to plod on occasion. Now that I'm retired, it seems to fly by. But
Thank you for that. And these are prayers of the heart, and I think it's very human. And when we look at the divine, understanding our humanness and how we experience things is really important. So thank you for sharing of yourselves with us. So the next one's revelation. And I didn't understand why this was a revelation until I actually read the poem right through to the end. So I'm going to have to scroll at the bottom. This one is by Jane Kenyon. I am the blossom pressed in a book, found again after 200 years. I'm the maker, the lover, and the keeper. When the young girl who starves sits down to a table, she will sit beside me. I am food on the prisoner's plate and water rushing to the wellhead, filling the pitcher until it spills. I am the patient gardener of the dry and weedy garden. I am the stone step, the latch, and the working hinge. I am the heart contracted by joy, the longest hair white before the rest. I'm there in a basket of fruit presented to the widow. I'm the musk rose opening unattended, the fern on the boggy summit. I am the one whose love overcomes you, already with you, when you think to call my name. Who is this?
the first thing that comes to my mind is God.
I would agree. Sorry, I just got a notice. I hope you didn't see that. I would agree that it's God. And I think it's God in everything. And it's the God that gives. What Slavin was, I'm the stone step. So you come up to me. I'm the latch. I'm the thing that keeps the door closed, but I'm also the working hinge. I open. And the whole, when you think to call to me, I was leading a service with Roy, I think about a year ago, maybe 2 now. Time passes. And it was the Torah portion that he gave a drash on that dealt with blessing and curse. And today I set before you blessing and curse, and I've led before, and I had developed drashes, and knowing there are thousands of commentaries on that piece, and we tear apart, you know, what's the blessing, what's the curse, what does it mean, what do we get, does God really mean this? And then I remember when I was with Roy, because I got to do music, I picked a song that actually reflected the fact that God is just there waiting for us. And we can overthink it to the nth degree, but he's there when we think of calling on him. And the final line, I don't know if you can see it, I see a little thing above it. So, I'm the one whose love overcomes you, already with you when you think to call my name. So, anyone have thoughts? How did it make you feel when you heard that? First time I read it, I got a little weepy.
I mean, it definitely makes me feel loved, right, by the Creator and my Maker. And I think of that Avinu and Malkeinu aspect of God, and it's such a privilege and an amazing feeling, an awe-inspiring feeling to feel that someone who is the parent and the sovereign is there waiting for us to connect all the time, filled with love and devotion to the creation. That's just, you can't, I mean, it's a beautiful writing again. It's incredible. I'm curious about the line in the middle, or I'm curious what you will think of that. I am the heart contracted by joy, as opposed to expanded with joy. I found that really interesting. What do you think about that?
I think, so I actually understand that in a really weird way. I think when we think of words like awesome, or we think of words like, well, awesome, I think is the best one. It's this idea that you can be so overcome with joy that your body almost can't take it. It's this, I can't believe this. And it's joy. Before we can relax into it, there's that moment of contraction. I don't know if anyone else experiences that, but I personally do. And I love the longest hair, that white one before the rest. You know, that one that tells you that wisdom is there, but the contracted heart. Does anyone else experience that? Are you connecting with these? I hope.
I am. I absolutely love this because it almost brought me back to the very first time that I came to service and Cantor sang the Asher Yatzar thing. And I mean, I grew up, you know, being worthless. My mom used to call me the greatest accident she ever had. And it just kind of, when he's saying that, you know, you're perfect the way you are and a little broken too. I remember just feeling like so emotional and feeling like something from behind me was hugging me. And I'm going to cry right now, but it was just like, I'm loved. He's always been there. Like times when my appendix exploded and I went 36 hours of busted appendix, I'm like, God has always been there. God has always loved me when other people didn't. And it's just, that's why I said, like, Judaism for me is home, because I've learned that even when people hated me, I was still being loved.
It's difficult. Oh, thank you for sharing. I want to hug you, and I wish I could hug you right now. We were in person doing this, so I give you virtual hugs right now. Yes. We are imperfect. One of the things that got me about Judaism was this concept that the world is not complete, and that possibly even we are completing it together with God. That I'm not going to say God is imperfect, but the work is still incomplete. And that possibly as we grow as humans, God can grow along with us and the world can change. And that's Revelation, which is what this is supposed to be. Again, it's the Revelation section, but it's also hope. And I think that's a beautiful thing. So we have two more. If that's okay, I'm going to move on to the next one. And it's part of the Shema. And it's actually a take on the Ve'ahavta. And there's no attribution to this. So there's no one I can give the name to. I'm just going to raise it a little bit because I have a little box over it. Will you open your soul to me? Will you speak your mind? Can you love me? Will you take my words? Take them with you. Teach them in sunshine. Teach them in kitchens. Make these words psalms. Make them stories and philosophy. Repeat them until they are music. Wrap yourselves inside the sounds. Write these words and keep the writings close at hand, or better yet, know them by heart. To gaze upon them with the mind's eye, to carry them wherever you go, as your prayer at night, most important words you speak in the morning. And when you're not sure you can love me, remember the narrow place, Mitzrayim. Remember, everything still depends on our love. Sorry, the last paragraph was hard for me because, yes, I struggle with God at times. I don't know if the rest of you do. And it's usually when I'm in the narrow place and I find God hard, difficult to see. Everything comes back to love. And yeah, I think we can lose our way. When I see this as a Ve'ahavta in a much more lyrical way in our lives, and this wrapping it into the sunshine and into kitchens and music and philosophy, but sometimes we can lose that rhythm of seeing the Jewish in ourselves in day-to-day life, really. Even if we're not thinking of God specifically. But it's that final paragraph when you're not sure if you can reach that again to remember. And I think this is a little more gentle than what I'm used to. So how does everyone else feel about it? Like I said, this is poetry. It's open to interpretation. And I'm always happy to hear others and what they're thinking about it.
So this is Cantor Paula speaking. I did find that when you look at the page number and you go to the back of the book, you can see the attribution. So this one was, Will You Open Your Soul to Me by Rabbi Sheldon Martyr. And his wife is also a rabbi, by the way, Janet Martyr, and they are out in the Bay Area in San Francisco. That's just not having anything to do with this poem, by the way. It's beautiful that, the Shema is set up in such a way that we say a blessing before it, a Baruch before it, and then we have the Ahava Rabbah section, which is all about how much God loves us and how deeply we're loved, which we kind of just read, right? Before it. And then we make this statement, Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. This love and this love, they're one thing. They're one thing. And then we go into the V'ahavta about us loving God. And I guess teaching and sharing that love with others is, what is meant by teaching them in all these different ways, and seeing everything as connected to that, seeing the oneness of that reality in all these things. And when you can't see that, you are in the narrow place. You are in Mitzrayim, and our whole repeated history as a people from our ancestors down to us is about crossing that sea parting in a moment, and us being able to see, oh, yes, it is all one. I see it now. And we get to experience that in our lives over and over again and throughout the generations as well. So it's a pretty amazing statement there. I like it as a V'ahavta. I think it's a really nice vessel to hold that in.
Does anyone else have any feelings about it? I love the way it opens. And something about, will you speak your mind? I was just like, this is a two-way relationship. And it starts not with what God wants us to do, but it starts with, you tell me. And then we'll move on to those other things. And it creates, for me, I think, an equivalency, or, not equals, but equal, like the ability to connect and to discuss and share. And I don't think you can love unless you feel like you can do that. It'd be very hard to carry on a relationship with God. But I could be wrong. And that's why I'd love hearing from all of you. No one? There is one more, and we do have time for it. It's a little longer, and I'm going to move this over just slightly. There we go. Sorry if it seems small to you if you open your screen to large size or just listen. The last is called I Know, and it's by James Conlon. It's under a section called Shofar. And then it has : hope. And I think of the shofar as a call, but I think with breath, it's also inspiration. We're dealing with breath. And so I think that's where this comes from. So I hope you enjoy it. I know that poverty must cease. I know this through the brokenness and conflict in my heart. I know that protest is the most prophetic act, and that the world is longing for a new soul, a new healing moment. I know that when we awaken to our origins and become truly human, we bring hope to the children and to the earth. I feel called today to bring the people together to break the bread and tell the story. I feel called today to be a mystic in action, aligned to the dynamics of the universe. I feel called today to give my gift, to listen to the heartbeat of the broken world, to heal the fragmentation of people and planet. I feel called today to celebrate the wonder of creation and respond to the sacredness and the challenges of life. I feel called today to participate in the work of my time, to fall in love to feel at home. I feel called today to be inflamed with enduring hope, to be at one with the universe, to be touched by God. I feel called today to compose a new paragraph for life. And I did not pick this one just because I do social justice work. I was hoping for something inspirational at the end. So, does this touch anyone? Is this just something because I feel the brokenness and conflict, or does this call to you in any way? Anyone? No.
It seems especially apropos to the world we live in now. I very much like the idea that we are partnering with God to create the world, that the creation's not finished. And these are things that point us towards where we need to be building.
I think so too. I found it, it goes into this mysticalness and the broken world and the planet, but then near the end, I feel called today to participate in the work of my time, but also to fall in love. Also to feel at home, to feel that this is my place and I belong here. And I think it provides a balance for us, that it's not all this mysticism and, I'm a mystic in action at one with the universe, I'm a real person and I need love and connection. And I need to feel like I belong here. And you can't go out and do all these things without love. And, I feel called today to compose a new paragraph for life, that while God is, has the book open and is prepared to write the names, that our focus should be on composing our paragraph for the new year as well. So, I don't know. I'm just riffing right now. Anyone want to open their microphone? Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's a call to action as well, that each of us individually can make a difference, and helping us to reflect on the various areas in which we can make a difference. And I think it's a very positive, and I definitely agree with Steve in terms of, looking towards the new year and what can we do as individuals. I think a lot of it's about Tikkun Olam, repairing the world. And yeah, very inspirational. Lovely choice, Laura. Yeah.
Thank you. We're near. Sorry, I hear someone else. I don't know who it is though. Oh, maybe it's just Val. Not just. Oh, we have Eve with us. Hello, Eve. So this is the end. I'm just looking at the time. There's literally 1 minute. I kept it on time. I did.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
So
Blessing. Yeah. So I want to say to Laura, thank you so much. These readings have been beautiful. And it's one of my favorite things. I mean, partly because I got to be a participant instead of leading. But honestly, it's been this, I love this session. I feel like we should do this every year because there's so many beautiful, powerful readings. And I love unpacking them with you, and just allowing myself to hear you read them in your beautiful, you have this beautiful orator's voice, gentle and meditative, and just hit the right spot for delivering these beautiful words and messages to us. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you. It was my pleasure and actually an honor to be able to do this today during our high holy days.
Beautiful.
And yeah, I hope it just gave people an opportunity to reflect, which is really what I wanted most of all. And I hope you enjoyed them. It's worthwhile.
Our cousin from Israel is here with us right now, Sherry Pilo, and she wrote in the chat to everyone, it is universal today. We need to listen to the shofar collectively, to stop and think of our community, our home, to love our community, to make the commitment to each other, to help each other, to love each other. So wise for coming from Israel to us today. Thank you.
I love that. Thank you.
Yeah, it is really beautiful. And
Shana Tova.
Tova to Israel. It's evening there.
Yes.
And we are moving out soon to go to Van Wagner's Beach. Hi, beautiful. I love you. Give my love to Mayan and to Baruch, please.
Shana Tova.
Shana Tova to you. So Rabbi and Sherry are cousins. Yeah, and we love Sherry so much. She is an amazing teacher, and
Mayan sends her love also. She's in isolation.
yes. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Things are difficult right now in Israel. There's been a new lockdown as of Friday, right?
Yeah, and that's why we have to think about community and how one person affects every other person. And we're learning that, you know, on our own skin right now, when we have 5,000 new cases a day, 5,000 cases every day. And, you know, everybody says, no, I don't have to wear a mask. No, but that's the part of being community and being responsible for yourself, but also being responsible for your community and making sure that you're keeping your community safe. And it doesn't matter if it's a local or international, we're all in the same boat. And it means so much right now when you talk about the shofar, you have to, it's just a symbol to stop and listen and to hear the community cry out and to say, we're starting this new year on our right foot, in the right way, loving each other and helping each other. And it was beautiful piece, Laura. Beautiful.
Yeah. Amen. Amen to that. We are moving out for 4 o'clock to Van Wagner's Beach for Tashlicht. And we did hear and we knew it was coming, that today in Ontario, the rules for the numbers of outdoor gatherings are changed from 50 to 25. And for that reason, Rabbi and I will be handing out birdseed and a pamphlet for Tashlicht, so you will have your own experience. So we're not going to gather in a group for any, group talk or anything. Everyone will be able to get this and their birdseed from Rabbi and I, and make their way to the beach on their own or in their pod or bubble to do Tashlicht. So that's how we'll do things, to be safe. Shana Tova to everyone. Thank you so much, Laura.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for taking time
Shana
out.
Tova, everyone.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Laura.
you.
Beautifully done.
Lovely,
you.
Laura. Thank you.